Hi, Jameson Mitchell here, and I'd like to welcome you to the Oracle Outlook. In this video, I'll be doing an angel card reading for the week starting June the 20th, 2016, so stay tuned. And here we are with the cards on the table and the decks. Assisting me for this week's angel card reading is I'm going to pull a card from the Archangel Oracle cards that's going to serve as the foundation or the theme for the week. Next, I'm going to pull 3 cards from the daily guidance from your Angels Oracle cards. It's going to serve as the reading for the week. And then I'm going to round out the reading by pulling a card as final advice from the Archangel Power Tarot cards. And here we are with the Archangel Oracle card, and so now I'm going to take the deck in hand. I'm going to shuffle the cards, and I'm asking Spirit and the angels for the messages that we need to have for this week. I'm looking for a card to stick out. Oh, card overturned. So we'll go with that. That's a clear sign. So the card that we have for this week as the foundation and the focus card is leadership. It is Archangel Gabriel, and the message on the card says, "It is time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others." So as I look to the image, because I'm always drawn to the image first, here we have Archangel Gabriel, and Archangel Gabriel is the messenger angel and the angel of communications, also the angel of creativity, inspiration, and creative self-expression. So I'm seeing this as we're being asked to be the voice possibly for other people who can't speak for themselves in some shape, form, or fashion, because I'm looking and there is a trumpet here. So for me, the trumpet is like trumpeting something, you know, tooting your own horn, making some kind of announcement or pronouncement. But if you look at the image, you'll notice that Archangel Gabriel is not holding the trumpet. So that's where I'm getting the idea of maybe this week being the voice for those who can't speak for themselves. And that's what leaders do. Usually leaders are people who are in positions where they help empower people, they help uplift people. And I'm going with those kinds of characteristics because there are all types of leaders, but keeping with the idea of angelic energy. Angelic energy is the same kind of energy that I believe that this leadership energy is that we're being called upon this week. It's meant to, how can we use whatever means of creative self-expression that we possess? For some of us, it may be that we are speakers. For some of us, it may be that we are artists. For some of us, it may be that we are musicians. Whatever it is that we use as our creative self-expression, how can that be a platform where we can stand on that and speak in a way that helps inspire people, that helps uplift people, that helps motivate people? I'm seeing that kind of energy. So how can we speak for those in a way that serves them in that way? But also, again, I'm going back to the idea here about people not having a voice or believing that they don't have a voice. And so how can we use whatever means that we have at our disposal to speak for those people? So I'm seeing that as the energy this week. And the other thing about leadership is, now just as I felt like I was about to move on, leadership could also be too, like, how can you take charge of your own life? I'm seeing a different imagery in my head. I'm seeing an image from the Life Purpose Oracle cards, and it has the same name. And in that one, I'm seeing the bottom of the card, and it says, "Take charge of the situation." So it could be that we're being called upon, like, how can we take leadership and ownership and responsibility, maybe for our own lives and our own experience? It may be that it's not about speaking up for other people, but in that context, it could be like maybe we need to speak up for ourselves. Maybe it's about going through this week, finding your voice and finding the words that you need to say to other people that is going to empower you. And so this week we're being asked to, whether we're speaking for other people or we're going to be speaking up for ourselves, Archangel Gabriel wants to help us with that because, like I said, Archangel Gabriel is about communication. So when you call upon Archangel Gabriel, you might want to consider this, because this is what I do, especially when I'm about to make a video, because I'm speaking now. I always call upon Archangel Gabriel to help me with the right and perfect words. You know, the words that need to be said in a way that they are understood and understood clearly. You know, the same thing with about the imagery that I get in my head. It's like however the messages come, I'm always asking for them to come in a way that are clear to me and I understand them, so then I can clearly communicate those to people and so that they can understand it. So whether you're speaking for other people or speaking for yourself, always keep that in mind, that you want to have the words, the right and perfect words, come to you clearly and easily in a way that you understand them, so then you can also convey those same words to other people in a way that's clear and understandable to them. So that is the card for leadership, and this is Archangel Gabriel. And so now we're going to move on to the 3 cards from the daily guidance from your angel oracle cards. It's going to serve as the reading for the week. And now, turning my attention to the daily guidance from your angels oracle cards, I'm going to once again shuffle. And I'm looking for 3 cards to stick out. The first card is going to represent the beginning of the week. Shuffling again. Second card is going to represent the middle of the week. And then shuffling once more. I'm going to take that card stuck out. Then we're going to turn to this card for the end of the week. Okay, and our first card is, for the beginning of the week, we have Notice the Signs. Okay, so this card shows up quite often when I do these angel card readings. So Notice the Signs is pretty obvious. The card reads, yes, the signs you've been receiving are heaven sent. We drop feathers, coins, and other signs upon your path to remind you that you're loved and never alone. So this is a sign from your angels to be paying attention to. You're being put on notice to notice the signs, because the signs are ways that angels communicate to us. Going back to the energy with Archangel Gabriel being the angel of communication, our angels communicate to us, but they don't always send messages that we can audibly hear. It's not like the energy of their messages are spoken words. So sometimes it is that people will actually see feathers. Some people will actually see coins. And I always say this because based on your connection to the angels, they're going to connect with you and communicate with you different ways. So we all won't get the same sign the same way. So like I said, some of us actually get feathers, dropped. And I actually see lots of social media posts from my friends on Facebook or Instagram who actually post pictures of the feathers that they have just found along their way that just seemingly come out of nowhere. Some people like me, I'm more like this, where I will actually find coins out in the street. And so for me, if you're like me and you find coins, I always consider that to be a sign of some sort of change coming, because especially if it's in front of you, if you find coins in front of you, that represents like walking ahead or walking along towards the future, because it's in front of you, and you find coins, it could represent the angels are giving you a sign that there is some sort of change coming, or that abundance is coming your way, because of course coins being one sign of abundance. So it could be one of those 2 messages, but that's usually for me when I see coins, so I usually get that. And then you may also get a message in a dream. I'm a big believer that Archangel Gabriel, here again, is the angel who helps us understand our dreams, because I believe in Christian scripture, Archangel Gabriel has always been like the angel of the Lord. Like, so if a character in the Bible had a dream, then they would say like the angel of the Lord appeared and gave them some interpretation of what the dream meant. So I'm a big believer that angels, can send us messages through dreams. And actually that's how I first came in contact with my angels, was in a dream. So it could be that you get a message through a dream. If that is the case and you feel like it's an angelic message, you can call on Archangel Gabriel as well as Archangel Michael to help you understand the messages from your dreams. So again, this is notice the signs, but again, in your personal communications and relationships with your angels, it's about you noticing how they communicate to you. So it's about noticing the ways that they communicate as well as the communications themselves. Because like I said, again, with the leadership card, it's like each communication is unique to the individual. So again, the beginning of the week, we're being asked to pay attention to the signs, especially as if you put in a request. Like if you're asking your angels for help, then your job, once you release the petition, once you release the asking, once you release the request, then you have to be on the other side of that and start paying attention to whatever signs come your way, because those might be the answers to your prayers. So I'm seeing that as notice the signs. In the middle of the week, we have creative project. Okay, so this is very interesting that I have the creative project card right underneath the leadership card with Archangel Gabriel. And I said one of the things that Archangel Gabriel was known for is creative self-expression. So creative project reads, your soul longs to express itself in creative ways. We're guiding you to infuse artistry and creativity into your life. Creative expression makes you feel alive and excited and reignites passion toward your life. So in the middle of the week, again, this could be a clear nod to those of us who have a creative bent. So if you are artistically inclined, if you are a writer, if you are musically inclined, then this card is saying, if you are working on a creative project, how can you get that moving? How can you make some progress with that this week, especially in the middle of the week? You can call upon Archangel Gabriel and the angels of creativity to help you with that. I'm seeing the music. She's playing a harp, this particular person, with the angels on each side of her. So sometimes it could be about like the idea of quote unquote harping on something. So if you find yourself that you're harping on one particular concern, one particular request, one particular kind of situation or circumstance, your angels are asking you to release that, because I'm looking at her as she's playing. There is like a cyclone of energy coming up from her music playing. So again, it's about how can you release that? How can you let that go to your angels? Because our angels are always sending us one message, is about letting go of our worries, our concerns, or our fears, and turning them over to Spirit and the angels so they can do the work that they need to do on their side to assist us and support us. So I'm seeing that as possible energy this week. So if you're harping on something, like you're kind of like if you're playing the same record again and again, it's about how can you be willing to let that record be changed? How can you be willing to let that go and play a new tune, play a different tune? So that's what I'm seeing with that. How can you maybe reframe that in a way so it takes the negativity out of it and maybe turns it into something more positive for you as an experience? So I'm seeing that. The other thing, when I see musical instruments on a card, it can just represent like moving into a space in your relationship with your angels, since there are two angels on the side. And I'm a big believer in, since there's two, that every one of us who believes in angels, well, actually, whether you believe in angels or not, but if you really believe in angels, then you may be aware that each of us has at least two guardian angels. So these could be this particular individual's, her guardian angels, with her. And so it could be like your relationship with your angels, and especially if we're talking about communication with your angels, requires you to kind of raise your energy. And music is a great way to raise your vibrational frequency, raise your energy. And as I'm saying that, another thing that could help would be working with Archangel Sandalphon, because Archangel Sandalphon is the angel that is attached to music for me. And so Archangel Sandalphon also represents faith and prayers, so it's about like that idea of harping on something or asking and requesting for something, like I also talked about with Notice of Signs. That could be Archangel Sandalphon taking your requests, and your prayers. I was trying to say requests and prayers at the same time. And lift them up to God, lift them up to Spirit, because He is the intercessor. So He takes our prayers and lifts them up to heaven so that the angels and Spirit can do the work that needs to be done with our petitions and our requests. So it could be like working closely with Archangel Sandalphon with your prayers, but also too about having faith that your prayers are being heard and answered, because music, once it's played, has to be heard. And also too, as I'm saying that, it's also about you being in a receptive state to listen. If we're asking and our prayers are the verbal side, our side, the talking side of our conversation and communication with the angels, then after that, you have to be open and receptive to listen to the guidance when it comes. So again, I'm seeing that as about being open and receptive to how your angels are communicating to you. So I'm seeing that. And so again, I'm going to sum up for the middle of the week. It could be that we are engaged in a creative project. So if you have a creative bent, then it could be about you moving forward with that creative project and asking your angels to help you with that. The angels of creativity and Archangel Gabriel to give you the inspiration, the motivation, maybe a little gentle nudge. I call Archangel Gabriel the nudging angel, so maybe you might need a little nudge in order to get that project going. If that is not true for you, then in your relationship with your angels, how can you again be open and receptive to the forms of communication that your angels have for you? And also, too, how can you work maybe more closely with Archangel Sandalphon in releasing your prayers, releasing your requests, so then Archangel Sandalphon can carry those requests and those prayers to heaven to be answered, as well as helping you restore faith, because I'm looking at the bottom part of the card where it says, creative expression makes you feel alive and excited and reignites passion towards your life. So for some of us, we may be feeling uninspired, we may be feeling a lack of motivation, we may be feeling like the passion's gone. I'm hearing in my head, since I'm talking about this, I'm hearing the song, Where Has the Love Gone? The version I'm hearing is by one of my favorite singers, Kylie Minogue, but I'm hearing that, so it could be like just where has the love for life gone? So it could be like this is the week where your angels, in particular your guardian angels, but your spiritual team, want to work with you on, getting that connection back, getting the passion back, getting your mojo back. I'm seeing in my head like the title of the movie, like how Stella got her groove back. If you've been feeling like the groove is gone, then you could be asking your angels to help you in terms of getting your groove back. So I'm seeing that as creative project. Now, moving to the end of the week, we have time to go. Okay, so the card reads, the sun sets and rises each day, and it's the same with the avenues in your life. See the beauty within each sunset in your life, and know that the sun will also rise again tomorrow. Endings are merely the start of a new beginning, and we are with you through each phase and cycle. So what I like about the imagery here is that the angel is directly flying towards creative projects. So I look at this as a directional cue that the angels are really acknowledging this message, especially when I talked about be willing to release something that maybe you've been harping on. It's time to release that. It's time to let that go. And once you let it go, then be open to the new phase that's coming in as a result of being willing to let something go. So let go of something that maybe is no longer in tune for you, going back to the musical instrument, letting go of something that's no longer in tune for you, that's no longer in harmony with you, that kind of energy, playing on the harp as a symbol here, letting that go, because once you come to a space where you're willing to let that go, then you set the stage for the new thing that's been waiting in the wings, because they're showing me like this new thing's waiting in the wings, but you have to be willing to release that thing that you've been holding on to. That thing you've been holding on to that's not working. And so if it's not working and you've been holding on to it, then you can ask yourself the challenging question, like, what do you get out of holding on to something that is clearly not working for you, that is clearly not in your best and highest good? You know, sometimes you hold on to things with the idea like maybe this time it will change, or maybe this time it will get better. But if you can see, you know, that history has been showing you time and time again that it's not working, then you have to be willing to say, okay, I've put in the time, I've put in the energy, I'm willing to release this because it's no longer in my best and highest good. So that thing that is waiting in the wings can come into the picture. So, and I'm seeing that too. Now, I talked about the idea about getting the groove back, getting the inspiration back, the motivation, and I'm looking at the angel holding a torch. So for me, the torch has the element of fire on it. And so that could be, again, passion, inspiration, motivation, that kind of energy. And so it's like once we let go of that thing, then we can also embrace the new thing coming in, that thing that is going to be that source of passion, that is going to be that source of inspiration, that is going to be that thing of motivation. And the angel is flying, so flying is movement. So there is going to be some movement, some progression, some advancement with that. So I'm seeing that. You know, it's about, I'm seeing this as maybe in terms of the leadership card that I was talking about either, then time to go could be that idea of, you know, it's time to step up, it's time to rise up, it's time to speak for those people who are not able to speak for themselves. It's time for us as light workers, and I believe that every one of us who comes upon this video, if you're watching a video about an angel reading or about and conversations about angels and connecting with your angels and your relationship with your angels, then chances are you are a light worker. And so this is a time for all of us to rise up. I believe like this is our like our call to arms, if you will. Like it's time to rise up. It's time for us to be the demonstration that the world needs. The world needs us to be in the position to demonstrate something different. You know, I talked with the creative project about things not working. You know, it could be that this could be a sign of a paradigm shift, a time to wake up, a time to realize that the ways that we have been living life, the ways that we've been, you know, going through this human experience up till now, the elements of it that are not working, and how can we help create a different experience. So I'm seeing that. And as I'm saying that, I'm getting the sense of, since I'm talking about like peace and harmony, I'm seeing Archangel Radleigh, who is the angel of creating harmonious relationships. And so there are some communities, and I didn't really expect to go here in this reading, but in light of the events that have taken place over the last week, I'm shooting this video actually on a Friday afternoon, and this has been the week where we are all still dealing with the repercussions and ramifications of the Orlando shootings. And in addition to that, then a couple of days later, the tragic story of that poor infant child. And I'm mentioning that because Archangel Gabriel is one of the three angels that I see who watches over children. You know, the child who lost his life to an alligator this week. So, you know, and it's about, so how can we, you know, feel what we need to feel and honor ourselves as individuals and community, but then also too, like, what are we going to be doing differently as a result of having this experience? You know, I'm a big believer that every experience happens to teach us something. So what are we as individuals going to learn from this? And then what are we all going to learn as a collective from this experience, so that maybe we don't have to have something like this happen again because we're not getting the lesson? You know, and so it could be like, yes, we may need to look to our actual leaders, you know, and that could be political leaders, religious leaders, you know, all types of leaders, you know, to see how they're going to react to this, how they're going to respond to this, what changes are they going to institute, but then also too, how are we going to be, you know, demonstrations of leadership based on where we're at in our own lives, because we're being called. This is the time we're being called to do that. You know, so again, I really didn't expect that to come through, but that is just what I'm feeling, that it may be a time for all of us as light workers to kind of demonstrate collectively a new experience, that it could be a different way, a better way, a more enlightened way. You know, how can we be demonstrating love, light, and peace, because that's what the world needs right now. So I'm going to end that there. So that's going to be the 3 cards that makes up this week's reading. And so now, as a piece of final advice, we're going to turn to the Archangel Power Tarot cards and pull a card from that deck. And now, turning my attention to the Archangel Power Tarot cards, I'm going to take the deck in hand, and as I've been doing with the other cards, I'm going to shuffle the deck, and I'm asking, what do we need to know in terms of final advice from the angels for this week and this reading? And I'm looking for a card to stick out. I'm going to go with this card. This card was poking out. So that's going to serve as the final advice this week. And the card is Four of Gabriel. Okay, this is another card that has frequently come up in this position in my angel card readings. And so the Four of Gabriel is a card that suggests that progress is being made. So if you are, and again, I love how this happens. So typically what happens with the final advice card, it typically matches the Archangel that starts the reading off. So here, again, we have a reference to Gabriel. And so Gabriel here is acknowledging, again, things having to do with a creative project, because Gabriel, again, is about creativity, self-expression, things of that nature. So I'm seeing that again as that we could be reaching the stage, and since I have creative project above it, we are reaching a stage with a creative project that is some form of completion, and with that, it comes with, this is a time to celebrate that that level as you're about to embark on the next stage or the next level. So it's about progress being made, some level of achievement being accomplished, and celebrating that before you move on to the next stage or the next level. So I'm seeing that as, and so this could be, again, somebody's actual work. If you work in a creative industry, or you have a creative type of career, it could be some sort of acknowledgement for that. If you're working on a project, it could be an acknowledgement of that. So again, celebrate the progress, but also too, this card is saying, like, don't rest on your laurels, celebrate your progress, and then prepare yourself for the next stage of the work that you have to do. So I'm also seeing that. So another thing with the Four of Gabriel is, I always see this card in terms of relationships. So somebody watching this video, if one of your concerns has been about a relationship and you're asking the question about where it's going, this card is a good card to receive, because it suggests, again, that level of advancement or progression in that relationship. It's about moving to the next stage. So for some people, it could be, you know, you decide that you're going to move in together, because sometimes this card is about cohabitation. It could be that you are getting engaged, you know, so that could be like you move to the next stage or level. So if you've been with a person for a while now, it could be like you become engaged. If you're engaged, then this card would be an acknowledgement that you may be moving to that stage where you're about to get married. That kind of energy. And it's interesting because this particular couple is outside of a gazebo. So for me, I always see this as like, you know, like a wedding reception, that kind of thing. So, and celebrating that. So it could be, you know, that kind of vibe, that kind of energy, if, you know, you are focusing on a significant and important relationship in your life. Now, if it's a working relationship, it could be like a working relationship or a working partnership, and celebrating that something that the two of you have achieved together in that working relationship. Some sign, you know, could be like an anniversary of some major accomplishment or major achievement that's being celebrated or recognized. So I'm seeing that. Now, this card can also be just what I talked about with Time to Go, the last card, as a collective. This card, the Four of Gabriel, is about teamwork. It's about collaboration. It's about doing something where we're not doing it alone, or that we cannot take the credit for the work that's been done all by ourselves. So this card, especially with what I had said about time to go, collectively it's about, okay, how can we get things to progress, or get things to advance, or get things to move forward in a constructive way? Because the 4 in a number, in tarot numerology, excuse me, is all about structure, order, discipline. You know, it's a foundational number. So how can we constructively move things forward collectively as a team? And it would say, like, as a collective, in any kind of universal experience, the collective, each person in the collective has his or her part to play, his or her own work to do in that. So it's about, like, so maybe taking a step back, especially if you're feeling like you're in a position where you may be feeling powerless, you may be feeling helpless, you may be feeling hopeless. You could say, based on where I'm at with everything that I've got going on in my life and the resources that are available to me at this moment in time, because everything is about the present moment, at this moment in time, how can I help? How can I contribute? What can I do? And then let Spirit and the angels tell you what you can do based on where you're at. And then the suit of Gabriel is not just about the inspiration and the motivation, but it's also an action suit. So it's about, like, you, once you get the inspired guidance, once you get the direction, then you have to take action on that. You know, I call it, like, when we pray, it's like putting feet to our prayers, you know. So it's about, like, you know, yes, it's great to pray, and remember I had said that with Archangel Sandalphon with Creative Project, it's great to pray, but then it's also about doing something with the prayers. You know, what's the action, what's the work that's involved that we are required to do? You know, just like we ask Spirit to do things for us, to support us, to assist us, Spirit is also asking us to do something too, especially in this human existence, in this human environment. We are being called to do things. So it could be like you are getting prompted to do something from Spirit, and then you have to take it upon yourself to act on that guidance. So I'm seeing that with the 4 of Gabriel. So again, I'm going to sum up. 4 of Gabriel is about progress being made, but also setting the stage for the next level of work to be done. It could also be about celebrating a relationship as that relationship enters into its next stage or level. And then what can we do as a collective in the next stage or level of the work that we need to do in terms of the human experiences that we are having in our own personal lives and in the world as a whole. So this has been the Oracle Outlook for the week. I am James Himm Mitchell, and I'm about to sign off. And as I sign off, I want to thank you for sharing this space with me this week and joining me for this week's reading. I'm hoping, as I sign off, that you have a wonderful day. I hope that you have a wonderful week filled with many angel blessings. And until the next video, when we all get together again, take care.